Today I'll be showing you how to differentiate polynomial functions. There's one pretty simple way to do this that you can use for any polynomial, so I'll be showing you how to do it for the one that we have on the screen right now. All you want to do is multiply the number in front of each x term by the power, and then take 1 away from the power. So for example, here we have f of x, and it's asking us for the derivative. The f with the dash next to it just means f prime, which is basically just the derivative of f of x. So let's do what I just said for each term. First we have 3x to the power of 2. So simply multiply the 3 out the front by the power, which is 3 times 2. And then we take 1 away from the power. Next we have 2x. So we know the power is 1, so we take 1 out the front, which becomes 1 times 2. And then once again we take 1 away from the power, so the power becomes 1 minus 1. The constant 8 is basically the same as saying 8 times x to the power of 0, so we take 0 out the front. And then x's power becomes 0 minus 1. So this just ends up as 0. So if we simplify this by multiplying all the coefficients and taking 1 from each power, we get 6x to the power of 1 plus 2x to the power of 0 plus 0. And then simplifying further, we just turn it into 6x plus 2. So this would be the final answer. Alright, let's do another one. This time it says negative 8x to the power of 3 plus 6x squared minus 4x plus 8. What is dy dx? This is just another way of asking for the derivative, just so you know the different ways that it can be written. Pause the video if you want to try it yourself, and then I'll show you how to do it. This time I'm not going to write all the brackets, and I'm not going to actually write the minus 1 next to each power, because you wouldn't actually do that in an exam, it just takes too long. You just go straight to this form. So first we have negative 8x to the power of 3, so that becomes negative 24x squared. Then next we have 6x squared, so that becomes 12x. Next we have negative 4x, which just becomes negative 4. And 8 is a constant, so it just becomes 0, so we just leave it out. So your final answer is going to be negative 24x squared plus 12x minus 4. So remember, all we do is we multiply the coefficient in front of each x term by the x's power, and then we take 1 away from the power. That's all there is to it. Here's another example with negative and fractional indices. So it wants to know what is d over dx of x to the power of a half plus x to the power of a third plus x to the power of negative 2. Even though it looks intimidating, it actually follows exactly the same rules as the two we've done before this. And once again, I've just done a different notation to show the different ways it can be written, but it means exactly the same as the two that we did before. So for x to the power of 1 over 2, multiply by 1 over 2, and then take 1 away from the power. So that becomes x over 2 to the power of negative 1 over 2. Next we have x to the power of a third, so we multiply by 1 over 3, and then we take 1 away from the 1 over 3 exponent, so it becomes negative 2 over 3. And finally we have x to the power of negative 2, so we multiply the term by negative 2, and then we take 1 from the power, so the power becomes negative 3. And there's the final answer. So just remember, fractional indices and negative indices follow exactly the same rules as what we did before. Alright, so I've shown you how to differentiate polynomial functions. So here's one final expression that's pretty long, but it'll make sure you understand exactly what you're doing. So try it yourself and then I'll show you how to do it. So the first term we have is 6x to the power of 4, so that becomes 24x to the power of 3. Next we have minus 8x squared, so 2 times 8 is 16. It becomes 16x. And then next we have 2x to the power of 1/2, so 1/2 times 2 is 1. So it just becomes x to the power of negative 1/2. Then we have minus 8x to the power of negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 8 is 24. So it becomes plus 24x. And then negative 3 minus 1, the power becomes minus 4. And then our last 7 is a constant, so we know it just disappears. So this is the final answer. So if you got that, then that means you're doing pretty well. Thank you for watching. That's all for today, and if you didn't understand anything, you can ask me in the comments and I'll try to help you.